The mind is powerful, far more powerful than most of us realize. Every thought, every belief, every focus of attention shapes not only our perception of the world, but the very outcome of our lives. Science has a fascinating principle that helps us understand this, the observer effect. In simple terms, it means this: what you observe changes. The very act of paying attention influences the result. Imagine that for a moment. Reality itself responds to focus. Energy behaves differently when it knows it is being watched. That's not just physics, it's a mirror for human potential. Think about your own life. When you doubt yourself, when you shrink back, when you tell yourself, I can't, your energy scatters. You lose direction. But when you believe, when you observe yourself with certainty, when you decide that you can, something extraordinary happens. Just like in science, your reality begins to shift. The path opens. The opportunities reveal themselves. Life aligns with your belief. Self-belief is not wishful thinking. It is a force, a real energy that influences how you act, how others respond to you, and how events unfold around you. When you see yourself as capable, your actions reflect that vision. You speak differently, you move differently, you take risks you once avoided. And because you observe yourself as strong, you become strong. The observer effect tells us that nothing is truly fixed. Possibilities exist in every direction. But the moment you focus, the moment you choose to observe yourself as confident, as disciplined, as unstoppable, you collapse those possibilities into reality. You become the version of yourself you've chosen to believe in. Ask yourself today, what am I observing? What story am I telling myself? Because every day, you are both the experiment and the observer. You are shaping outcomes by the way you think, the way you focus, and the way you believe. If you want success, observe yourself as successful. If you want growth, observe yourself as growing. If you want strength, observe yourself as already strong. This is not delusion, it's alignment. When your belief matches your actions, the universe responds. So the science of self-belief is this: your focus matters, your observation matters, and most of all, your belief matters. The more you believe in your potential, the more your potential responds. Just like particles shifting under observation, your life bends under the gaze of your self-belief. Never underestimate it. Never dismiss it. Choose to observe yourself with courage, confidence, and determination, because the moment you do, everything changes. The way we look at the world, the way we focus our attention, and the way we choose to see ourselves has far more power than most people can imagine. Science has already revealed something astonishing through the principle known as the observer effect. It shows that even in the smallest particles of existence, energy behaves differently depending on whether it is being observed. This means that nothing is entirely fixed until it is noticed, measured, or focused upon. At first, it seems like just a mysterious quirk of physics, but when you take a step back, you begin to realize how deeply it connects with the human experience. The truth is that observation is not passive, it is creative. The simple act of paying attention to something influences its outcome. Now think about how that applies to your life. Every time you look at yourself, every time you make a judgment, every time you decide to focus on a possibility or a limitation, you are not just seeing, you are shaping. Many people live their entire lives unaware of this truth. They wake up every morning, letting their circumstances dictate their focus, allowing their past failures or disappointments to dominate their observation of who they are. As a result, they keep reinforcing the same reality. Just like in the experiments where particles behave differently when observed, your life behaves differently depending on how you choose to see it. If you constantly observe lack, you experience more lack. If you constantly observe weakness, you become weaker. But the moment you shift your observation, when you choose to focus on growth, strength, possibility, you begin to change the reality you live in. It may not happen instantly, but over time, the consistent act of seeing differently reshapes the direction of your life. Self-belief, at its core, begins with observation. It begins with how you see yourself when nobody else is looking. When you close your eyes and imagine your future, what do you see? Do you see obstacles too big to climb, or do you see challenges waiting to be conquered? Do you see a person destined to fail, or do you see someone who might stumble but always stands back up? This is not just about positive thinking, it is about focus. Whatever you consistently observe in yourself becomes your reality. The observer effect teaches us that attention is powerful. When you place attention on possibility, you breathe life into it. When you place attention on your potential, you activate it. The danger lies in forgetting this truth. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing that observation is neutral, that seeing yourself as weak or incapable doesn't matter because it is just the truth. But science shows us there is no such thing as passive observation. You are not just a witness, you are a participant. Every thought, every judgment, every focus alters the way energy flows in your life. If you observe failure long enough, you begin to behave like someone destined to fail. If you observe your limitations day after day, you reinforce them, giving them more strength than they deserve. The good news, however, is that the reverse is also true. The moment you decide to shift your gaze, to observe yourself with confidence, determination, and strength, everything begins to change. Think of it this way. In every moment of your life, there are infinite possibilities waiting to unfold. Some paths lead to success, others to stagnation, and others to failure. These paths exist like potential outcomes, but they are not fixed until you focus. The one you give attention to is the one you bring into reality. If you constantly observe the possibility of success and act as though it is already unfolding, you align yourself with that path. If you constantly observe fear and convince yourself that things will not work out, you align with that reality instead. The observer effect shows us that choice is power. You cannot control everything in life, but you can control where your focus goes. And where your focus goes, your reality follows. This is why belief in yourself is not a luxury. It is essential. When you choose to observe yourself as capable, as worthy, as resilient, your actions naturally reflect that vision. You begin to carry yourself differently. You begin to take steps that you would never take if you saw yourself as weak. People notice, opportunities notice, and suddenly the world responds to the way you observe yourself. It is not magic, it is alignment. The energy inside you matches the energy you put out, and the results mirror that alignment. But remember, this is not a one-time decision. Just as scientists repeatedly test and observe to reveal patterns, you must consistently choose what you observe about yourself. Doubt will always try to creep in. Fear will always whisper that you are not enough. The key is to decide where to place your attention. Do you let those doubts dominate your observation, or do you redirect your focus toward possibility and growth? Each moment gives you a choice, and each choice brings you closer to a reality shaped by self-belief. Imagine the difference it would make if you woke up every morning and observed yourself not through the lens of your past mistakes, but through the lens of your potential. Imagine if, instead of focusing on all the reasons why something might fail, you focused on the reasons it could succeed. Imagine if, instead of telling yourself you are not ready, you began to observe yourself as someone preparing to step into greatness. That shift in observation would not just change your mindset, it would change your life. Because what you observe changes. What you observe becomes. What you observe, you eventually live. So understand this, your observation is your power. Every moment you are creating with your focus. The observer effect is not just a principle of science. It is a principle of life. Choose to see yourself as strong, as capable, as worthy of success, and over time that will become your reality. The science of self-belief begins with the eyes you choose to see yourself through. And the greatest transformation of your life begins the day you decide to shift your focus. Belief is invisible, yet it carries a weight that can change everything about your life. It is not something you can touch, and yet it touches everything you do. It shapes your words, it guides your decisions, and it creates the energy you carry into every room you enter. Self-belief is not just a mindset, it is a force, a real, tangible power that can either lift you to places you never thought you could reach or keep you trapped in limitations that only exist in your own mind. What you believe about yourself determines what you are willing to try, how far you are willing to push, and how resilient you are when things get hard. The world often responds not to your potential alone, but to the way you express that potential through belief. Think about it. Two people can have the same talent, the same resources, the same opportunities, and yet one will rise while the other remains stuck. The difference is often not skill but belief. One sees themselves as capable, and so they act with conviction. They persevere when obstacles appear, and they seize opportunities with both hands. The other hesitates, questions themselves, and holds back because they are not sure they belong. Talent without belief is like fuel without fire. It remains unused potential. But belief ignites everything. It makes you move differently, speak differently, and think differently. It turns ideas into action and dreams into reality. Self-belief is powerful because it works on multiple levels. First, it influences the way you see yourself. If you believe you are capable of growth, you are more willing to take risks, to learn, and to stretch beyond what feels comfortable. Second, it influences the way others see you. People respond to confidence. They sense it in your voice, in your body language, in the way you carry yourself. A person who believes in themselves naturally inspires trust and respect. Third, it influences reality itself. When you act from belief, you align your thoughts and actions toward possibility. That alignment produces results that doubt could never create. But self-belief is not something you are born with fully formed. It is built, tested, and reinforced over time. It grows when you challenge yourself and discover that you can do more than you thought. It strengthens when you keep promises to yourself, when you set goals and achieve them, when you face difficulties and refuse to break. Each small victory adds weight to your belief, making it harder for doubt to shake you. The mistake people make is waiting for belief to come before they take action. They think, when I feel confident, then I will try. But the truth is, belief grows because you try. It comes because you step forward despite fear, because you act even when you are unsure. The force of self-belief is not given, it is earned. There will always be moments that test this force. Failures will come, mistakes will happen, people will doubt you, and sometimes you will even doubt yourself. But this is where the true strength of belief reveals itself. It is not about never feeling fear or insecurity. It is about refusing to let those feelings control your actions. It is about standing back up after setbacks and reminding yourself, I am still capable, I am still worthy, I am still in the fight. That is what separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. They use belief as a shield against doubt and as fuel to keep moving forward. Belief is also contagious. When you believe in yourself, others begin to believe in you too. Your conviction becomes a light that others can see, a signal that you are serious, committed, and determined. Think of the leaders, innovators, and dreamers who have changed the world. Many of them faced rejection, ridicule, or impossibly high odds. What carried them through was not just talent, but the unshakable force of self-belief. They convinced others to believe in their vision because they first believed in themselves. And if you want to create impact, if you want to inspire change in your own life and in the lives of others, you must first master this force within. The beauty of self-belief is that it does not require perfection. You do not need to have everything figured out before you can believe in yourself. You simply need the willingness to trust your ability to grow, to learn, to adapt, and to endure. You need the courage to say, I may not know everything, but I am capable of figuring it out. I may not be the strongest yet, but I can become stronger. I may not be ready today, but I can prepare and improve. That is what self-belief really is. Not arrogance, not blind confidence, but faith in your capacity to rise to the challenge. Every great achievement begins with someone deciding to believe it was possible. Every breakthrough, every invention, every success story was once an idea in the mind of someone who chose to believe in themselves when nobody else did. And the same power exists in you. When you believe, you move forward. When you move forward, you create momentum. When you create momentum, you open doors. And with every step, your belief grows stronger until it becomes a force that no obstacle can stop. So never underestimate the force of self-belief. It is the foundation of progress, the spark that lights ambition, and the shield that protects you in difficult times. Nurture it, strengthen it, and carry it with you into everything you do. Because when you believe in yourself, the world cannot help but respond. Your energy changes, your actions align, and your life transforms. Self-belief is not just a feeling. It is a force, and it is waiting to be unleashed within you. The way you see yourself is the foundation of everything you do. Perception is not just a mental picture. It is the silent command that directs your choices, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. You cannot consistently act in a way that contradicts your self-perception. If you see yourself as weak, your actions will be hesitant and timid. If you see yourself as strong, your actions will carry conviction and purpose. Life does not just respond to who you are, it responds to who you believe you are. Your perception creates the framework for every action you take. Consider the moments in life when you held back. Perhaps you wanted to speak up in a meeting, to share an idea, or to take a risk that could have moved you forward. What stopped you? Often it wasn't a lack of knowledge or ability, it was perception. You looked at yourself and thought, I'm not ready. Or I don't belong here. That simple thought, that perception shaped your action. Instead of stepping forward, you stepped back. Now think about the opposite moments. Times when you believed you could, even when the odds were against you. Maybe you didn't have all the answers, but your perception told you, I can figure this out. I can try, I can grow. And because you saw yourself that way, you acted. That action led to results, and those results reinforced the belief. This is the cycle of life. Perception fuels action, action fuels outcome, and outcome reinforces perception. Change begins at the first step, how you choose to see yourself. If you perceive yourself as a victim of circumstance, your actions will always reflect defeat. But if you perceive yourself as someone who has power over their future, even if circumstances are hard, your actions will reflect resilience. The difference between those who break barriers and those who remain stuck is not always talent. It is the perception that guides their choices. The danger is that most people never question their perception. They accept the story they've told themselves for years or the story others have told them as truth. They say, I'm not the type of person who succeeds, or I'm not meant for greatness, and without realizing it, they live out that perception day after day. But perception is not reality. Perception is only a lens. Change the lens and the picture of your life changes. If you can shift the way you see yourself, you can shift the way you act. And if you shift the way you act, you can transform the outcomes you experience. Think of someone training for a marathon. If they perceive themselves as a non-runner, every step will feel impossible. Every mile will feel out of reach. Their actions will be half-hearted because they've already decided the result. But if that same person shifts their perception to, I am becoming a runner, I am capable of finishing this race, their actions change. They push harder, they train longer, they endure the pain because they see themselves differently. The body follows where the mind leads, and the mind is led by perception. This is true in every area of life. If you perceive yourself as someone who cannot lead, you will avoid responsibility, you will hesitate to guide others, and you will remain in the background. But if you perceive yourself as a leader in progress, your actions will reflect courage, initiative, and vision. If you perceive yourself as someone unworthy of love or success, your actions will sabotage opportunities. But if you perceive yourself as someone worthy, capable, and deserving, Your actions will reflect that worthiness, and people will treat you accordingly. The secret is not waiting for proof before you change your perception. Proof comes after you act, not before. You must decide to see yourself differently first. You must choose to perceive yourself as strong before you feel strong, as successful before you see success, as capable before you achieve. That shift in perception unlocks the actions that bring proof into reality. Too many people wait for evidence before they believe, but the truth is you must believe before the evidence appears. Perception is also contagious. The way you see yourself influences how others see you. If you walk into a room perceiving yourself as small, insignificant, or powerless, others will feel that energy and respond to it. But if you walk into a room perceiving yourself as confident, valuable, and worthy, people respond with respect and trust. They see in you what you have already chosen to see in yourself. This is why perception is so powerful. It not only shapes your internal actions, but also the external reactions you receive from the world. Building a powerful perception of yourself does not mean ignoring reality or pretending you are something you are not. It means choosing to focus on your potential rather than your limitations. It means deciding to see yourself as growing instead of failing, as becoming instead of being stuck, as capable instead of incapable. The person you are today is not fixed. You are a work in progress, and how you perceive that progress will decide whether you keep moving forward or give up along the way. Every time you choose to perceive yourself as capable, you unlock actions that align with that vision. Every time you choose to perceive yourself as worthy, you take steps that honor your worth. Every time you choose to perceive yourself as strong, you discover strength you did not know you had. The reverse is also true. Every time you perceive yourself as weak, your actions reinforce weakness. Every time you perceive yourself as unworthy, your actions sabotage opportunities. Your life is a reflection of your perception, and if you want to change your life, you must first change the way you see yourself. So ask yourself, what perception have I been living out? Have I been telling myself I am too late, too old, too weak, too broken, too inexperienced? Or am I telling myself that I am growing, learning, and becoming more capable every day? The story you choose to see is the story you will live. Perception creates action, and action creates reality. If you want a new reality, start with a new perception. Decide today to see yourself as strong, as capable, as worthy, and as unstoppable. Because the way you see yourself will always decide the way you act, and the way you act will always decide the life you live. Life is filled with endless possibilities. At every moment, there are countless directions you could take, countless futures that could unfold. Success and failure, strength and weakness, victory and defeat. They all exist as possibilities waiting for you to decide. But here is the truth, they remain possibilities until you focus. The moment you choose, the moment you place your attention and belief on one path, that possibility begins to collapse into reality. This is not only a principle of science, but also a principle of life. Nothing becomes real until you give it focus, and the future you choose to believe in is the future that begins to take shape. Think about how often people keep their lives stuck in the realm of possibility without ever moving it into reality. They say, one day I'll start, or someday I'll try, or maybe I'll succeed if the right opportunity comes. All the while, their possibilities remain scattered, unshaped, unclaimed. They wait for certainty, forgetting that certainty never comes first. Possibility collapses into reality only when you take a stand, when you choose, when you commit. Without action and belief, possibilities remain shadows of what could have been. Imagine someone standing at a crossroads with 10 different paths. Each one represents a potential future: health, wealth, growth, failure, mediocrity, greatness. All of them are there. But standing still will never make any of them real. Only the path you step on becomes your journey. In the same way, your life is surrounded by countless futures, but only the one you focus on, the one you believe in, the one you act toward becomes the reality you experience. The rest simply fade away, not because they weren't possible, but because you never chose them. This is why self-belief is so important. When you believe in yourself, you are choosing the possibility of success, growth, and strength. You are collapsing that potential into reality by giving it focus and energy. But when you doubt yourself, you collapse the opposite possibility into reality, the possibility of failure, hesitation, and regret. Both were available, but the one you focused on became your truth. This is why people with the same opportunities often live very different lives. The difference is not luck. It is the choice of which possibility they allowed to become real. Many people underestimate the power of focus. They think thoughts are just thoughts, but every thought is like a vote for a possibility. Every time you say to yourself, I can do this, you are giving energy to that path. Every time you say, I can't, you are giving energy to another path. Over time, your consistent focus builds momentum, and momentum solidifies into reality. You are always collapsing possibilities, whether you realize it or not. The question is, are you collapsing the ones that empower you or the ones that limit you? Consider the great achievers of history. At some point, their dreams were nothing more than possibilities. Their visions were fragile, uncertain, and invisible to everyone else. But they chose to focus on them with relentless belief and action. They spoke as if their vision was real, they acted as if it was inevitable, and eventually, the possibility of success collapsed into reality. Others may have seen the same future as impossible, but the difference was focus. They chose belief, while others chose doubt. And the universe responded to that choice. The same truth applies to you. Right now, there are possibilities within you that you cannot yet see. There are paths to greatness, to growth, to breakthroughs, waiting for your focus. But if you keep observing only your limits, those possibilities will never become real. If you focus only on fear, you collapse fear into reality. If you focus only on failure, you collapse failure into reality. But the moment you decide to focus on potential, to act with belief, to see yourself as capable, everything begins to shift. Your choices, your energy, your actions, all of them align with the possibility you chose, and that alignment makes it real. You must also understand that possibilities do not wait forever. Opportunities pass. Doors close. The time to choose is not someday. It is now. Every moment you delay, you are allowing valuable possibilities to fade away. Life is not about waiting for certainty. It is about creating certainty through focus and action. Possibility is endless, but your time is not. The sooner you choose, the sooner your reality begins to take shape. This does not mean that every choice will lead to instant success. Sometimes the possibility you focus on requires struggle, patience, and resilience. But even that struggle is proof that the possibility is becoming real. The fact that you are walking the path, facing the challenges, means you have collapsed it from imagination into existence. And if you stay focused long enough, that path will carry you to the results you desire. So ask yourself, what possibilities am I feeding with my focus? Am I constantly giving energy to doubt, to fear, to hesitation? Or am I giving energy to strength, to growth, to resilience, to success? Every thought is a choice, every decision is a vote, and every day you are shaping your reality. If you want a different life, you must begin by choosing a different possibility and giving it your full belief. The beauty of life is that nothing is fixed. Just like in science, reality bends under observation. You are not trapped by your past, you are not limited by what others expect, and you are not destined for failure unless you decide to observe yourself that way. At any moment, you can shift your focus, collapse a new possibility, and walk into a new reality. That power has always been in your hands, waiting for you to use it. So choose boldly. Choose with faith. Choose with belief. Collapse the possibilities of strength, growth, and greatness into your reality. Because the truth is simple, your life is not determined by chance, but by focus. And the future you live will always be the future you choose to believe in. Every goal you chase, every dream you hold, Every step you take depends on one simple truth: alignment brings results. Success is not just about working harder, it is about aligning your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions so that they move in the same direction. When your inner world and your outer actions are in harmony, the universe seems to cooperate with you. Doors open, opportunities appear, and progress feels natural. But when your beliefs pull one way and your actions pull another, you create resistance, and resistance steals your energy and delays your results. Think about someone who says they want success but secretly believes they are not worthy of it. Their words point in one direction, but their beliefs point in another. What happens? Their actions are hesitant, their confidence is shaky, and their progress is slow. On the other hand, imagine someone who not only says they want success, but also believes deep down that they deserve it and acts daily to prove it. Every part of them is aligned, and because of that, their energy is stronger, their actions are bolder, and their results come faster. Alignment is the secret ingredient that turns potential into progress. When you are aligned, you stop wasting energy on conflict within yourself. You stop saying one thing and doing another. You stop dreaming of greatness while doubting your ability to achieve it. Instead, every thought, every choice, and every effort supports the same vision. This creates momentum. Momentum is powerful because once it builds, it carries you forward even when things get difficult. Without alignment, momentum never builds. You may take a few steps, but you will stop, restart, hesitate, and repeat the cycle endlessly. Alignment is what breaks that cycle. Consider the process of building a house. You need a plan, a vision of what the house will look like. You need the right materials, and you need the workers to build it. If the architect designs one thing, but the builders create something different, the house will collapse. But if the plan, the materials, and the work are aligned, the house stands strong. Life works the same way. Your vision is the blueprint, your belief is the material, and your actions are the labor. If they are aligned, you build something lasting. If they are not, you waste time, energy, and effort without ever seeing results. This is why so many people feel stuck. They set goals, they make promises, they create resolutions, but deep down they don't truly believe in them. Their actions show up for a little while, but soon they fade because there is no alignment. Alignment means asking yourself, do my beliefs match my goals? Do my actions match my words? Do I carry myself as if I already believe in the future I'm working toward? If the answer is no, the first step is not to push harder. It is to align. One of the most powerful ways to create alignment is through consistency. Every time you act in a way that matches your belief grows stronger. Every time you live according to the future you envision, you reinforce that future in your mind. Over time, the gap between who you are and who you want to be closes, and you begin to embody the person you've been striving for. Consistency builds credibility with yourself, and that credibility strengthens belief. Alignment is not just about saying, I believe. It is about proving it daily through action, no matter how small. Another key to alignment is clarity. You cannot align with a vision you do not have. If your goals are vague, your actions will be scattered. But when you define what you want with precision, you give your mind and body a target. Suddenly, your thoughts organize around that target, your actions move toward it, and your energy aligns to support it. Clarity creates focus, and focus creates alignment. If you are struggling to find results, ask yourself, am I clear about what I want? Or am I still chasing a blurry dream? Alignment also requires discipline. It is easy to believe when things are going well, but true alignment shows itself when things get difficult. Discipline keeps your actions consistent even when motivation fades. It ensures that you keep moving in the same direction regardless of setbacks. This is why discipline is more powerful than motivation. It sustains alignment when emotions fluctuate. Discipline makes sure your actions remain loyal to your beliefs, and that loyalty brings results. When you align belief and action, something extraordinary happens. Life begins to respond differently. People sense your conviction, opportunities seem to gravitate toward you, and challenges that once felt overwhelming now feel manageable. This is not magic. It is the natural outcome of energy working in one direction. Think of it like rowing a boat. If half the crew rows left and half rows right, the boat spins in circles. But if everyone rows in the same direction, the boat moves swiftly forward. Your thoughts, beliefs, and actions are your crew. Get them rowing together and you will be unstoppable. Alignment is also about integrity. When you live in alignment with your values and vision, you gain inner peace. You no longer feel the constant tension of pretending to be something you are not. Integrity means your words and your life match. That authenticity gives you strength because you are not wasting energy maintaining a false image. Alignment with your true self is the foundation of lasting success. So the question you must ask yourself is, am I aligned? Do my beliefs support my goals, or do they sabotage them? Do my actions reflect my dreams, or do they betray them? If you want change, you must bring everything into alignment. Your thoughts, your words, your habits, your focus. When they all point in the same direction, results become inevitable. The truth is, alignment makes success simpler. It removes the unnecessary struggle and confusion. It allows you to build momentum, to grow consistently, and to create a future that matches your vision. Alignment does not mean life will be easy, but it means every step you take will count. Every effort will matter, and every sacrifice will bring you closer to the results you seek. So choose alignment today. Align your beliefs with your vision. Align your actions with your words. Align your discipline with your goals. Because when everything inside you works in harmony, the outside world cannot help but respond. Alignment brings results, and those results will transform your life. Every single day, you are observing yourself. Every single day, you are telling yourself a story about who you are, what you can do, and what you are worth. This observation is not neutral. It is powerful. It is shaping the way you think, the choices you make, and the future you live. You may not even realize it, but the lens you use to observe yourself is the foundation of your reality. That is why you must choose your self-observation wisely. The way you look at yourself is either lifting you toward growth and success, or it is holding you down in fear and limitation. Think about how often people speak words to themselves that they would never say to someone they love. They tell themselves, I can't, I'm not enough. I always fail. I'll never make it. These words are not harmless. They are a form of observation. They are the story you are choosing to see, and over time, that story becomes your reality. If you keep observing yourself as broken, you will act broken. If you keep observing yourself as unworthy, you will treat yourself as unworthy. But if you begin to observe yourself as strong, as capable, as worthy of success, you will begin to align your actions with that vision. The difference is not in the world around you. It is in the way you choose to see yourself. Self-observation is the beginning of self-belief. If you do not see yourself as capable, how will you act capable? If you do not observe yourself as strong, how will you endure when life gets hard? If you do not choose to see potential in yourself, how will you ever step into that potential? What you observe consistently is what you reinforce. Your mind is like a garden, and observation is the seed. If you plant seeds of doubt, you grow hesitation. If you plant seeds of strength, you grow courage. The choice is always yours. The challenge is that most people let their past define their observation. They see themselves only through the lens of mistakes, failures, and disappointments. They look at who they were yesterday and assume that is who they must be tomorrow. But this is a lie. The past may explain you, but it does not define you. Observation is always happening in the present, and in the present you have the power to choose a new story. You are not limited to old lenses. You can decide right now to see yourself differently, and that decision will change everything about your future. Observation also shapes your energy. When you look at yourself with doubt, your energy drops. You carry yourself with less confidence, you hesitate when opportunities arise, and others sense that hesitation. But when you look at yourself with confidence and strength, your energy rises. You walk taller, you speak with clarity, and people notice the difference. Your self-observation is not just private, it radiates outward. Others respond to the way you see yourself. If you see yourself as valuable, others will treat you as valuable. If you see yourself as small, others will treat you as small. Choosing self-observation wisely does not mean ignoring your flaws or pretending you are perfect. It means choosing to see yourself as a work in progress, someone capable of growth, someone worthy of effort, someone with potential still unfolding. It means looking at your flaws honestly, but through a lens of possibility, not finality. You are not defined by what you cannot do today. You are defined by what you are willing to work toward tomorrow. This shift in observation changes the way you respond to challenges. Instead of saying, "I'm failing because I'm not good enough," you begin to say, "I'm learning and I am getting better." That simple change keeps you moving forward when others would give up. Every great transformation begins with a shift in observation. Athletes who break records first see themselves as champions before the world does. Leaders who inspire change first see themselves as capable of leading before others follow. Innovators who create breakthroughs first observe themselves as creators before the invention exists. The world did not give them permission. They gave it to themselves through the lens of observation. They chose to see themselves as more, and that choice created actions that led to results. The danger of careless observation is that it becomes habit. If you constantly observe yourself through negativity, it becomes your default lens. You stop questioning it, and it feels like truth even when it isn't. But habits can be changed. The first step is awareness, asking yourself, how am I observing myself right now? Are you choosing to see strength? Are you choosing to see weakness? Are you choosing to see possibility? Or are you choosing to see limitation? Once you notice the story you've been telling yourself, you can decide if it is worth keeping or if it is time to rewrite it. Rewriting your observation takes practice. It means catching yourself in moments of doubt and choosing a different lens. It means speaking to yourself with encouragement instead of criticism. It means visualizing yourself not as broken, but as becoming whole, not as failing, but as learning, not as unworthy, but as deserving. Over time, these new observations become habits, and those habits reshape your identity. You begin to act like the person you've been observing all along, and slowly, that imagined version of yourself becomes real. Remember, you are both the observer and the observed. You are the scientist and the experiment. Every day you decide how to look at yourself, and every day that decision influences what you become. If you want to live with strength, observe yourself as strong. If you want to achieve greatness, observe yourself as capable of greatness. If you want to build resilience, observe yourself as someone who never gives up. The observation comes first, the action follows, and the results complete the cycle. So choose carefully. Choose to see yourself with courage, with faith, with determination. Choose to tell yourself a story that empowers you instead of one that defeats you. Because in the end, the story you observe is the life you will live. And if you are willing to choose self-observation wisely, there is no limit to the reality you can create.